Ew. Wait, why aren't you on my headphones?
Yeah,
Hold
I
on.
am not, definitely not on your headphones.
I do this, but
Oh, gosh.
uh, speaker. Okay, you are now. Let's see.
Am I? Yeah,
I believe you are.
I don't hear any echo now. Okay. I hear
Checking.
barking.
Yes, yes, you do. Okay. Oh, bleep 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 bleep. Roar, 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 roar. Okay, all that's taken care of. Let's wait for the dog to shut up. Did somebody just come by or something? Roar. Oh. Oh, there they are. Oh, that's bad. Jadsky, there's nothing going on.
Well, he's obviously bothered by something.
Who knows what? He's delusional most of the time.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Or, it's something like, there's a squirrel taunting him from the front yard. That kind of thing.
Let's see how that could be annoying for a dog.
Although there isn't any, like, on our, that I can see on our little camera right now. But, okay.
Ready?
Is he quiet? Is he quiet?
I think so.
Okay. Shall I just hit start?
Yes.
Here we go. Welcome to Curmudgeon's Corner for Saturday, November 29th, 2025. It's about 17:15 UTC as we're starting to record. I am Sam Minter, and Yvonne Bowe is with us again. Hello, Yvonne.
Hi.
You seem more chipper than last week. Is your recovery continuing apace?
It is. I mean, yeah, it is. It's getting better.
Okay.
It is, it is on a upward slope.
That's
It's
better
not
than a
it's not
downward
it,
slope.
yeah. So it's making progress. It's making significant progress. Yes.
Excellent. Well,
I mean, I am. They said 6 weeks, and I'm barely over 3. So it's
so it's going the way it's
yeah.
supposed to go. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Anyway, we're going to do our usual. Our first segment, we'll talk about lighter and frothier things and whatever, blah 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 blah. With Yvonne and I'm
Whatever.
trying to catch up on
Blah
movies
blah
and
blah blah
stuff.
blah.
So yeah, lots of blah blahs, lots of
Lots
blah
of blah
blahs,
blahs. Lots of blah blahs. Blah blahs.
lots of blah blahs. And I'm working on catching up with the movies and blah blah blah. Yeah, more blah blah blah. Anyway, but Yvonne will pick something else undoubtedly, and then we'll do more serious stuff towards the end. We're towards the end, the last more than half. You know, it's usually mostly serious stuff, but we like to start out with the other stuff. So, what's up this week with you, Yvonne, that you want to bring up for our butt first?
Can I just say that I would be okay with not having to work again? I mean, if I could sustain the income, that's all
Yeah,
I'm saying. I mean, it would be just, you know, I I don't.
this last month of being unemployed, I from a mental health point of view, I am so much happier than I have been in years. Years. I am enjoying myself. I am relaxing. I am I mean, I'm not getting as much done as I would like to get done. That never happens, but I'm getting stuff done that I'd like to get done. And the things that I'm getting done are the things I want to get done rather than other stuff that's going on.
You're not
And yeah,
commuting?
I'm not commuting. I mean, and I basically mentally had said, I'll take November. And, November, I'm going to just relax like this. And
Yeah.
then come December, I have to start taking the idea of figuring out how I'll make money later more seriously, you know?
Okay.
Um, and, but I'll be completely honest with you. The idea of actually, even though I intellectually know it is most likely what I will end up having to do, the idea of going back to a regular corporate job is like horrifies me. It's like I mentally do not want to do that. Like I want so I'm like, I see the little things go by of like, oh, you know, make money with day trading. Oh, okay, that sounds great. Let me try that. Or, or whatever scam I get the little like texts all the time. Let's see what's the most recent one I have. Like I'm just looking. Ba 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 ba. They're just stupid political ones too. Oh, but I know I get several of these a day, so I just have to find one that's appropriate. Oh well, of course I get the ones that are just completely unknown numbers. Hey, long time no see. Where are you staying these days?
Oh, where are
I
you
get
staying these
I get
days,
several
Sam?
of these all every
Whoa.
day. Um, but anyway, it's these. You guys know what I'm talking about. These make money fast things. Work from home, make hundreds and hundreds of dollars every day. Doing nothing.
You'll make
Yeah,
$1,000 a day working 1 hour a day.
yeah, these kinds of things. I get these scam texts all the time, and I'm like, oh, that sounds good. Maybe I could try that. You know, and
As you start deluding yourself, this shit starts becoming like viable to
exactly.
you. Yeah, you start to say,
It, it,
"Hey, it's
it's
good
like
work."
maybe I could yeah, maybe I don't know. And there are these scams about like sell whatever online or read it. And look, there's all kinds of crap. Okay, and I'm like letting uh, and part of it, even on my little personal projects, I know I'm like really stretching it to think any of them could make any money whatsoever, but like I spent like a lot of the time from after like all the turkey stuff was over Thanksgiving to now,
Yeah.
like I've been working, one of the projects that I have is this juke potter thing for random podcast discovery, and jukepotter.com, everybody go check it out. Anyway, like I through my random to-do list thing, which by the way I've also enhanced my to-do list mechanism, so I'll show you that in a second because I've got a website I can show you on that now. But what came up was, okay, work on some juke potter again. So I started working on some juke potter again. And the thing that was next on my list was like figure out some monetization for it, right? So now if you go to jukepotter.com, there I now have put in samples, because nobody's actually paying me, because nobody's going to this damn website, of course. But like, I've built a monetization mechanism where people can buy sponsored placements on the site, and so of course I've put in my 4 podcasts. I've put in an additional 8 podcasts from that Snohomish Podcast Network thing that I've been going to mixers on, just as samples. So like, if you go to the site, a certain, sponsored ones come up if you're in the category that those things are part of. And I'm like, here's the pricing model. And if it became super, super popular, I could actually charge people from it, blah, 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 blah. And now it's not got enough features yet that I'm going to go out and publicize it. And it would take a huge amount of volume to make any non-trivial amount of cash. And so most likely it would never make more than Curmudgeon's Corner makes us, which is like $25 a month. But I've built the mechanism so it could, and I don't know, like, but yeah, like, try, and I also like, I'm thinking, okay, what's the minimum I could actually get by on and not like be thrown out of the house, and not lose the
these are the
house and
thoughts that
live.
you're like, you're going through like right now. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, how could I
Coast?
how could I coast and not actually go to work? And like, it's not saying, recognizing, I am not in a position where I can live completely off my savings for the rest of my life. But, if I found a nice shopping cart and a bush to live under,
There
maybe
you
I
go.
could.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And of course, like, job market sucks right now and is getting worse.
Oh
Of
my God,
course,
it's horrible. I mean,
So
look,
it's
all I've been
like,
sharing is on the Slack are all these terrible, like just job news, and and the administration has decided, hey, the same attitude they had during COVID is now the attitude they're having with the economy. Hey, how do we solve the problem with the COVID cases? Stop testing. So, hey, how do we solve the problem with the economic numbers looking bad? Hey, let's stop publishing them.
right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So
But yeah,
yeah. So
it's like, well, what's the point of even looking, right? So I don't know.
I think this is a
Uh
terrible time, but it is. I think there is. If I think memory serves, and I had read certain articles that this is probably one of the worst. At the start of December, it's probably one of the worst times to be looking for a job.
yeah.
Um, I did get a job many years ago that I started in December, but I'm pretty sure I remember correctly. The interview started like in September.
Hmm.
So this was like in 2009. So it wasn't like that, but
Well,
nobody, most
when
people
I
don't kick
started
off a
when I
process like
started,
now.
yeah, I know, like, January is a better blah blah blah. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean, when I started the job that I'm leaving now,
yeah.
um, I started in mid January. I'm pretty sure the interview process was in December for that position.
Oh, okay.
And so like, because I remember,
Well, I'm not saying it doesn't
yeah,
happen. I'm just saying
it's
statistically,
it's
yeah,
not a
yeah,
great
yeah. I
time. Like,
mean, right,
nobody's in that mindset.
right. I
But
mean,
then,
right
of
now,
course,
Thanksgiving
of
week
course
is
I've seen
the
other, yeah, I've seen other
Thanksgiving.
people talk about, like, well, that's when you jump in because nobody else is doing it. But whatever.
I don't think that's. I mean, I'm talking about from the employer side, not the workers. If they need a job, they're going to be hunting.
Right.
This is but from the other side, it's not the same thing. But anyway, there was this. You're talking about money, but there was this article that I saw related to, and I think it's somebody pretty accurately decided. We talk about the poverty line being 30 some odd $1,000 for a family of four, which is
Right.
ridiculous. Nobody could live. I mean, I mean, you can't live without public assistance. Okay, and those people at that money are getting a lot of public assistance. Okay, it's almost impossible to live. at that amount of money at a family of four. Okay. Um, and they were making this calculation where, what the hell should the real poverty line be? Okay. All right.
Right. Okay.
And
Yep.
they went through the numbers, crunched the numbers for a family of four. And, they think, and obviously this also goes back to the definition of what poverty is. Okay. All right. Which also people started arguing about this. Okay. Um, that the real number should be something much closer to about $140,000 for a family of four, not just not 30 some odd thousand, 140,000 for a family of four. And by the way, this, the thing is also defining what the heck poverty is. Okay, all right,
Right.
because it doesn't mean that if you're making 120 you're starving. But what they're saying for a family of four is that on average, and by the way, this is not adjusted for inflation depending on the different states as well, okay? Because
Right.
also
I was
cost
going
of
to say
living
not in, yeah,
depending,
cost of
not
living is
every
very
state,
different depending on
right?
location as well.
Right. It could be, it could be a lot less and more, but on the average of the United States, okay, for a family of four to live basically where you're paying child care, your car, your taxes, your health care, transportation, food, and the numbers they picked aren't crazy numbers. It adds up to about $136,000 a year for a family of four. And this is going in like, think about, $23,000 for housing, which isn't that expensive a housing if you think about it. $1,000 a month on food, also not crazy. $14,000 on transportation, which you think about four people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cars, insurance, 1,000 gas. I mean, that's not even that crazy a number if you think about it. Healthcare also another $1,000 a month when you add your insurance premiums and whatnot, blah blah blah. That gets in there. Taxes. That family is paying between the 7% Social Security tax, Medicare, whatever, and other taxes or whatever, close to $18,000 in taxes alone. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it starts getting to it really adds up real quick. Okay, now some disputed the thing that they added $32,000 for childcare in, but look, and that some people don't have that expense. I understand. They're saying that and you can dispute the number where it's 100,000, 110, 120,
Well,
130. The
with
reality is
childcare, you either need someone staying home doing it who's not making an income, or you
right,
have to
or you're
pay
paying
a
through the
huge
nose
amount
for
for it,
yeah, and that's the thing because that's a real
or
cost because
you're doing it illegally and paying
think
somebody
about it,
under the table
well,
at like some. But
because
even
think
that's
about it.
not cheap.
Listen, if you think about it, if somebody from that family has to cut back their working in
Yeah.
order to do that, it's costing you $30,000 a year. Doesn't matter how you slice it.
Right.
Okay, whether you're paying it out to a child care provider, and I remember daycare for people it's $2,000 a month. You know, that's
If
a
not
real
more. Yeah.
number, if not more. It's a real number. And so, you know, it's one of those things. So yeah, I mean, in America, really, uh, saying that the poverty line for a family of four is $33,000. I mean, that's. I mean, that's basically. I mean, that may mean that they are living in. I mean, they're not. I mean, they're living a really. I mean, they're living a very anxious and stressful life at that number. Okay. They're not eating well. They're probably skipping meals. They're not getting health care, maybe, depending if they're on Medicaid or not, depending on the state, because that's another thing with the gaps that we got in healthcare and whatnot. So those are the things that I thinking about. But the reality is that, yeah, I mean, I think that I would be, if I didn't have to go back to work, I'm okay. I've said this before. I've had this before. I would be fine. Now, I will say I don't have the same level of dread that you have about going back to work. I will say that my work environment is significantly better. Okay, I by miles. Okay, I don't have that. I don't have the same issue with work that you've had for years. But what I'm saying is that I don't really, there are these people I'm talking, you talk to like, oh my God, they don't know what the hell to do themselves if they don't go to work. And I don't mean I don't know if you met these people, but I have.
Yeah.
I mean, they're workaholics. They cannot live without work. Okay.
I'm like, screw that. I have
Yeah.
so much. And the last month, of course, has showed it to me like perfectly, but like I have no dearth of things that I will fill my time with if given the
Yeah.
opportunity. And yeah, certainly some of it is relaxing. Some of it is watching TV. Some of it is unproductive stuff. Sure. But I
Oh
also
God,
have
who wants to be
things I
productive
want to
all
get
the
done.
fucking time? For God's sakes, give me a break. Okay, come on, man. You
But
know,
you know,
I have spent this last week because part of my thing is that I had, you know, I Manu didn't have school, and I did work a little bit of this week, but I didn't I had planned to try to work the least amount of time possible.
right.
Okay, I did have to take care of a couple of things, but look, we have unlimited PTO, and I was like, look, I gotta, I did do
If you
some work
can't
right after
use your
surgery.
unlimited PTO for recovering from surgery, what the fuck good is it?
Oh no, no, and look, I took a number of days already. The one thing is that I planned on not like, well, I plan on taking some time off now. Though here's the one thing about my time. Look, my time a lot of the times it's not even dictated by my boss. Not that my boss is looking for me. It's that I attend customers, and
Right.
I do sales. So the reality is, and there isn't really anybody that in some cases can answer can take care of this stuff for the customer. It is what it is. This is one of the things about this type of job. So if I would tell people, look, if it was something, there was a couple of things that nobody else could take care of. I took care of it, okay. But the others, I just punted. I'm like, whatever. I did not kill myself working, but uh, but this is the thing. I'm telling you, this is the thing about taking a sales job. If you're on a sales job and you want to sell properly, one thing that's going to happen, it's not about your boss. If a customer's trying to reach you and you're not there, they get upset. Simple as that. It's just like if you
Right.
listen, if you go to a store, you're trying to find somebody to help you, right? And you can't find a person. You don't like that. So that's the unfortunate side effect of the job. But I did rest a lot. I watched a lot of TV. Gosh, I spent a lot of time. Well, the other thing that happened was that I was thinking of taking Manu to go do something. But Manu got sick on Saturday, right as
Mm.
this week started. And he's been nursing a cold the whole week. Uh, it got better for Thanksgiving, substantially better on Wednesday. But he had been very stuffed, having a hard time getting to sleep because he was congested. But so I thought I was going to take him out to do some stuff, but he was sick, and so I'm like, well, I guess we're just going to lounge around and play video games and not do much of anything and watch TV. And
Yeah.
well, we did go see a movie
Okay.
last night because
Good.
he felt better. He felt better, so we went to see. Zootopia 2 is out.
Ah, yes, I've heard that. Now, I don't know that I've seen the first one.
I don't know if I saw the first one either, actually,
I
but
mean,
he wanted to go see the
I
second
can
one.
bring to mind like clips, but I don't think it's from watching the movie. I think it's just from being around in a universe where Zootopia
It may
exists.
well very be possible. I'm on the same boat as you. I don't know if I saw the first, but I did see the second one, and so I'll add a movie review. I'll just go
Go ahead.
quickly. Thumbs up. Good
Thumbs up
movie.
for Zootopia
Yeah,
2. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Good movie. Out in theaters right
Good
now.
for the whole family, not just
Yeah,
kids.
yeah. Good for the whole family. Yeah, yeah. My wife, Manu, and I, we all three went. We had a good time at the theater yesterday. Very packed.
We are
Yeah.
probably going to go tomorrow. I have on my to-do list. Oh, that I was going to show you. So I have to do that in just a second. But my we're probably going to go to the second Wicked movie tomorrow. So
I
I have to
didn't
buy
watch
the
the
ticket.
first Wicked movie.
I
I am
you,
I am I
we
am
have
on a
talked before how like musicals aren't really your thing. They're not
it's
really
not
my
my
thing
thing.
either, but I enjoyed the first one. Gonna watch the second one. So, and we rewatched the first one on at home a few
I
days ago
mentioned
to
that
be ready.
I like musicals, like a musical, like like a Broadway musical in person that I like, but not a movie musical so much. I don't know
Right.
why.
Okay.
You know,
So like
did I tell the first time I went to see a musical? Probably the worst way to see a musical, I will say.
okay,
Um,
yes.
well, the reason I say it's the worst way is that uh, look, this was like when we were in college. There was this one time that I went to like near like I went to I went to London, okay, for spring break, okay, for a couple of
Okay,
days. Well, I
yes.
went to Madrid, but then I flew to Madrid, but then my girlfriend at the time said, "Oh, wait, but we're all going to London," and I already bought the ticket to go Madrid. My mom said that we're all going to London. I'm like, "Fuck, I just fly to Madrid." Then I gotta, and I was like, I couldn't change the ticket so I could fly to London and then go to Madrid. I have to fly to Madrid first, fly to London, and this was like from Pittsburgh. So I had to fly from Pittsburgh to Newark, right? Pittsburgh to Newark, Newark to Madrid, then Madrid to London. And that same night that I got there, we went to they had tickets to go to of course they lived in Madrid, so they're in the same time zone. I was not. Okay. I had tickets to go see Cats. Okay, that night in the
Okay,
West End. And
yeah.
I'd never been to it. Hey, one thing you want to do is go to a theater in the West End to go see a show. Okay.
Right.
It's what so I got there. I was very I had a hard time watching it, even though I liked it. It was Cats. It was.
Cats
I
is a
mean,
little odd. Of
but I
musicals.
liked it though.
I have seen Cats.
I will say that it took a substantial amount of coffee that I consumed for me to stay. I mean, it wasn't because the musical was bad. It's just that I had spent like 20 plus hours traveling. I'm jet lagged on my ass, and I'm like all of a sudden trying to watch Cats.
That might
That
not be
same
the
night.
best situation to see it in.
No, I can say like flat out, no, no. If you want to watch my recommendations, if you go to London, you want to watch a show at a theater or West End, do not go the same day you arrive.
Okay.
That's my
Uh,
travel piece
okay,
of the
now
week.
Yvonne, I want to get your reactions to this thing live because we've talked before about my various to-do list mechanisms.
Yes, yes,
And so
yes.
one of the things I've done in the last 2 weeks is take
Did
one
you
of the
build like a
things that I
randomizer or something?
yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I used to do this for a while. I did this on a spreadsheet, and then I'd move to a different method using dice. But like I revived this one because I sort of missed it. The basic premise behind this one, it's mostly for recurring tasks, like things that you want to do on a regular basis. Like,
Okay.
I mentioned Juke Potter. Like, I have that in there as like I want to do something with that every 3 days. Okay. And so the basic premise is that you look at what percentage of the, like, if you're supposed to do it every 3 days, then if it's been 3 days since you have done the thing, then it's sort of the baseline. Okay. And if it's been half that time, it's half the priority. So like if it's been 1.5 days, it's half the priority to do that thing than if it's the 3 days you said. And if you've let it go 6, it's double the priority. If you let it go 9, it's triple the priority. Okay, etc. And but these priorities don't represent just like the order on a list. They go in. Each thing comes in with a score, and then when you're deciding what to do, you pick based on like the higher the score something has, the greater a probability it has of coming up. So like the things near the top of the list have a greater priority of coming up when you pick a task than the lower. And I also have a mechanism to do a multiplier that says like this is every 3 days, but it's 10 times more important than other stuff. So multiply its score by 10. It's 10 times more likely than it would be otherwise, right? So anyway, here I am sending you the URL to this. Look at it on your computer. I have not optimized it for mobile, so it doesn't fit right on a phone. But you can bring up the site. I've made it the site itself. I'm not giving the URL on the podcast, but I haven't put any protections against seeing it. I've made protections. You have to type in a PIN to change anything. So this is read only to you. Okay. So first of all, describe what you see here and tell the audience.
Well, I mean, I must say, Sam, you made it very graphically pleasing. Okay,
well,
all right.
Thank you.
So it's this able to do priority-based task manager, and it's got the task, and I guess because of the scoring, right? It goes and it puts, it has this bar chart that shows it shows how, because of the scoring, where it is at the top of the list. Okay,
right.
It says how many times, when it should repeat. Okay, and it's got the multiplier, and it shows you the last time that you had an action. What is the N?
How many times I've done it under this system?
Oh, so you've done it 18 times. Okay, so the thing is that, for example, at the first one that he's got here, move task from simple note to do. So that's apparently very function. So you put it on a to-do list.
I had my old to-do list, and so this is transferring stuff from my old to-do list onto this.
So that one he's done 18 times. It's like it's got a multiplier of 10. The next one that's on here, apparently, that is critical, it's got a multiplier, but he has not done at all. It's buy movie tickets.
Yeah, it's the movie tickets for tomorrow, right? Okay. And so you'll notice like there's a repeat column. The first one I have on there, do every 6 hours, move one of those items, and I've done the 18 of them, and it's got a 10x multiplier. But the last time I did it was 2 days, 8 hours ago. 2 days.
Let's see. You've help Alex video, which you haven't helped them in 6 months, and you've done once. It's on line number 3. The laundry round. Oh, this one isn't that bad. You've done twice. Okay. This one you did about a week and 3 days ago. That's not terrible. Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Although I would say, considering that you don't actually have a job, that's actually miserable.
Well, and my target is to do this every 12 hours, twice a day. Because like I have calculated that in order to keep up with the volume of laundry,
you need to do
I have to do it twice a day.
And you've only done it twice. Oh my God. Okay. Snow laps.
And look, you have neglected to mention on the left of this, with the scoring for each one of these, like the move task from the simple.
They're ranked, like 1, 2, 3. So I'm moving down the ranked list. Yes,
you're going down the ranked list, but the important part is like that move things from my old to-do list has a 15% chance of coming up if I pick a task. The buy movie tickets has an 11.9% chance. Help Alex video has a 3.85%.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So now hit the pick a task button, Yvonne. Turn up your volume. Turn up your volume because the sound is kind of flaky, but there are sound effects here.
Okay, let me see. Hold on. Wait. Where's my volume knob? Okay, here. Okay.
I just heard the twiddle.
Oh, you could, yeah. Well, it's the thing is, the sound is coming through my headphones, unfortunately. Hang on, I could do something. Let me see. All right, I'll do this again. Did that come through?
Nah.
It does this little cool sound effect, and then it randomly picks it, and it picked the task on this instance. Down at number 114, which had a 0.107% chance, which is feed and water Mike, which was done 4 days ago. Okay, well, that's not bad. You did do it 4 days ago.
Well, and see, and it's got a once a week target. And so what happens is when you complete a task, because the priority is based on how long it's been, it drops all the way to the bottom of the list and then slowly works its way back up.
Sam, can I just say something? This is actually pretty cool. I will tell you this. I don't understand why the hell putting this in an app and putting it on the App Store, to be honest with you, if you can make a mobile.
This is
I see for people.
This is one of my projects that I did.
Is a nation of procrastinators. Let's be clear about this, okay? You know, this is reality. There are, so if you went and you put this, we got to come up with a name. Okay.
Yes.
A better
name. You don't think Abel to do is the name?
Not gonna help. Okay. All right. Not gonna help. But if we can come up with a name, but put this on the App Store, this might.
Well, like you said, when you pick a task, there's a little sound effect, there's an animation.
Yes.
I think it's addictive. Like I have sat here hitting the pick a task button over and over and over again.
I must admit, I get quite enjoyable. It was quite enjoyable to do so.
Since you couldn't hear it, I will insert later what the sound effect sounds like at this point. Anyway, I'll add that. But yeah, no, look, this is the kind of thing, like, as I'm going through things, I'm like, I built this for myself, but I'm like, okay, how could I repackage this? How could I make some money off this?
I gotta be honest with you, other than just making it mobile and getting a nicer name, this is actually pretty good. This is really damn cool. I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah,
I think that there are a lot of people out there who probably would enjoy using this. Not me, but a lot of people though.
Yes, if anybody listening wants to see this thing, I'm not going to give the URL on the podcast, but if you ping me individually, I'll share it so you can like play with it and see, like, hear the little sound. The sound is erratic though. I found, like, if I use it over and over again, like sometimes it doesn't come out properly. So that I've got on my list, debug why the sound doesn't always work. Things like that. And you'll notice I've got little like statistical things, like there's a line at the 1 sigma, 2 sigma, 3 sigma of like how often the things come up and the percentages, and it's color coded by how late the thing is. Because of course the default is like everything's late. Everything's less frequent than I'd like it to be. The ones with the green bars, Yvonne, are the ones that aren't yet late, and you have to get down to 131 on the list to find the first one that's not late.
The green, yes, all the top 20 of the top 23 here. It's like they're all like in distress.
Well, when I first transferred my previous method into here, and I did an import from another tool I was using on my phone, like the top category, the color would be black. And those were the ones that were more than 100 times past their deadline. I did clear out all of those, and I had like a couple dozen of those, and I cleared them all out. I took care of those. And now we're in the blue is the next most latest category. The one I have some purple ones at the top, which are less late than blue, but they're at the top because they've got a multiplier on them for the importance. So, and I've got one task that, by the way, is working its way up that is currently at, where is it? 10x. There's one task that is currently.
Wait, you haven't showered in a week?
Yeah, well, it's been a week.
What?
Now, I'm not sure it has really been that. Like, there are other ones on here that, like, that sometimes those are accurate. Sometimes when I do something when it's not, that's on the list, but like, for instance, I have on here feed Sam, like to remember to eat.
Okay.
But very often I eat because, like, if I eat because I rolled eat, I will remember to put this. But if I eat on my own,
you don't mark it as complete.
Well, no, I try to remember to, but I often forget. If I have done a thing on my own, as opposed to because I rolled it on this list, I'm sporadic as to whether I remember to hit the button on here.
Got it.
But I would not be surprised if the shower thing is accurate. But I'm starting to feel icky. I might take care of that later today. there's a what there's a 1% chance it'll come up when I roll for shower. So
I edit this.
and I've got, and by the way, this is keeping stats behind the scenes. I haven't built the graphs yet, but it's keeping stats on how many tasks I do every day and things like that, and what the scores were, and all kinds of stuff like that. So I can build graphs of my productivity and things like that
Well, of course, I was
as
going to
well.
increase the priority like by 40,
Oh,
but
but you hit the
like
pin
you said,
number.
I don't. Yeah, I gotta put the. I don't have the pin number, so
Well, this is my son, of course. Very first thing, like I told him, was like, don't mess with this. I know
you
you're gonna,
started fucking with
because of
it
course,
right away.
several times, he within like an hour or two of me setting this up the first time, he'd figured out my code and started to add things to this list for me. I'm like, don't do that. And like I changed the code, and then he knows the new code. He does things like, start screen recording on my
What does
device.
he have a key log?
What
He's key logging you. What the fuck?
what
What is he? He's
one
doing
one
like.
one time when I was working at my desk, he placed his phone on top of my microphone like this, pointed at the keyboard, and recorded me putting in the pin number, and I didn't notice it was there.
He's like Mike Johnson's. He's like Mike Johnson and his kid, for God's sakes. What the hell?
Another time, he borrowed my phone for a second, started screen recording on the phone so that he could capture it as I typed it in that way. He knows all the passwords. He can be stealthy. Yeah, and so there's nothing, anyway. But I've told him that if I catch him changing stuff to the list, because I know he's got the passwords,
Right.
that he loses like some privileges and attention from me for like 24 hours. So
So that's
anyway,
discouraged him from making changes.
it's fun, and this is the kind of thing, like, I've been able to do something like this, and yes, AI assistance helps because I can take the idea and like describe what I want, and it'll help me actually build it, and like I can iterate on the idea without thinking too much about the mechanisms of how to do it, and I can build a little thing. And yes, and of course, yeah, every single thing I do, I'm like, is there a way to monetize this? Can I monetize this? Can I make this, whatever, So yes, of course. And I've got like a big to-do list of like additional enhancements and things I want to change and do, and like it wouldn't be hard for me at this point, like to like set up an account mechanism and set up a URL and be like, okay, Yvonne, you think this is cool? Here you go. Set up an account. You can have your own blank one. Give me $5 a month. Thank you very much.
I think we're gonna have to put some ads on it.
Well, like I said, I added
Or
monetization to
no ads
to
or ad free.
Trickpotter.
You pay for ad free.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway, since I've spent so much time on this, should I still do a movie, or is it too late?
Do one.
Move on. Do one.
No, do one.
Okay.
Do one.
Okay, where did I put the stupid thing? Okay, the next movie on the list is, making sure I pick the right one, Blade from 1998.
1988 Blade?
1998. 1998.
I don't even know what the fuck. I don't remember this movie.
It's Wesley Swipes.
Swipes?
Wesley Snipes.
Swipes?
Like Swiper, no swipey, or whatever from Dora. Yeah.
I like how it sounds as Wesley Swipes.
Anyway, yes. This is.
Oh, this is from like that. Yeah. Now he had that Blade trilogy which the movies made money, but I think also these are the movies that got him into his tax troubles as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't remember that, but it's ringing a little bit of a bell when you say it.
Yeah, well, he went to jail for not paying. He found this brilliant genius tax guy that went and told him that he didn't know federal tax, and then he started trying to claim that he tried to claim massive tax refunds, and then he he should send returns. He was basically claiming to be a sovereign citizen or something for a while,
Oh,
and
nice.
the
Yeah,
IRS
that always works out well for
the
people.
IRS did not take too kindly on that, and he wound up broken in jail.
Excellent. Good job on him, I guess.
Yeah,
Um, anyway, yes, Blade is it is a Marvel thing. It came from a Marvel comic. But it's not in the MCU. It's not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it is Marvel. And he anyway, this is the first of, like you said, there's a trilogy.
yeah.
Um, basically, he's a vampire, but he's a good vampire that fights bad vampires. You know, that's
I'm surprised. My wife has been all into these vampire shows and things. I'm surprised my
okay.
wife hasn't watched this. I don't
So
think she has.
here's the beginning of the plot summary from Wikipedia. In 1967, a pregnant woman is attacked by a vampire, causing her to go into premature labor. Doctors are able to save the baby, but the woman dies. 30 years later, the child has become the vampire hunter Blade, who is known as the Daywalker, a human vampire hybrid that possesses the supernatural abilities of the vampires without any of their weaknesses except for the requirement to consume human blood. Blade raids a rave club owned by the vampire Deacon Frost. Police take one of the vampires to the hospital where he kills Dr. Curtis Webb and feeds on hematologist Karen Jensen and escapes. Blade takes Karen to a safe house where she is treated by his old friend Abraham Whistler. Whistler explains that he and Blade have been waging a secret war against vampires using weapons based on their elemental weaknesses such as sunlight, silver, and garlic. As Karen is now marked by the bite of a vampire, both he and Blade tell her to leave the city. ... Plot continues. There are lots of fights. Like there's, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it.
Bottom
I'm
line.
gonna give it a thumbs down. I know some people like this kind of movie, but this is one of the ones that's like it's high. It's basically fight scene after fight scene after fight scene. Lots of violent fight scenes as well. There's lots of sort of gross out, maybe a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's just it's the type of movie that if you are into, I just want to watch the fights. I don't really care that much about the plot. I don't care that much about the characters. I just want to see them go from one fight tableau to another fight tableau to another fight tableau, and then the good guy wins, and it's the end of the movie. Okay. Oh, sorry, spoilers.
No.
That's roughly the kind of thing. That is not the kind of movie I really enjoy. So
Okay.
thumbs down from me. Some people love that kind of thing, and if so,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
you'll like this. I don't know, but and I'm not saying there was no plot and no characters, but it was very clearly not the priority of the movie, and so it was what it was.
Yeah, these
So
movies made a lot of money, which is a crazy thing, as far as I can tell. I mean, they
yes,
made 3 of them.
yeah, yeah. Let's see. Box office. It dislodged Saving Private Ryan from the box office when it first came out.
Wow. Think about that. Think about that.
Let's see.
Jesus.
Let's see. What do they have totals here? Um, finished the run with 70 million domestically, 61 million worldwide for a total of 131 million. But this was back in 98.
Like
So,
98. So this is like a $300 million film now. Yeah. Yeah. A little over 300
and
million.
apparently,
What was the
though,
budget? What was the production budget? Usually they put there. How much
I
did it
don't
cost to make?
know. You're asking me stuff, and let's see, $45 million budget.
So, hmm. Well, I guess 45 million to 160. I guess that's 4 times. So that's what they expect. Okay, all right. It made money. I thought it was maybe bigger than that, given that they made 3 of them.
Right. Um. Oh, and what's interesting here is this is one of those, like, this is pre MCU. This is pre rebirth of Marvel. Blah blah blah. Marvel Comics was paid $25,000 for the rights to the character for the movie.
Oh, I'm
That's
sure
it.
they were. I'm sure they were thrilled.
Flat fee, no percentage.
By the way, there is a reason why Marvel back then was doing horribly financially.
They didn't know
20.
how to make deals like this.
No, they did not. No.
Anyway, critical response, Rotten Tomatoes gives it 59%, rating of 6 out of 10. So the site's critic consensus says, though some may find the plot a bit lacking, Blade's action is fierce, plentiful, and appropriately stylish for a comic book adaptation. There you go.
Okay. Well, there you go, Sam. They basically said you don't know what you're talking about.
No, they said exactly what they said. Light on plot, lots of action. That's pretty much what I said.
I'm kidding.
Sure you are. Yeah, whatever. Well, this is how I'll make my living, Yvonne. I'm just going to be a
movie reviewer. You're going to be Roger Ebert.
I'm going to be Roger Ebert. I will go, and people will pay me to say thumbs up, thumbs down.
That's another money maker. There you go. Just keep coming up with all these money making schemes.
Yeah, exactly. It's I mean, and surely any day now I'll win the lottery. I mean, I'd have to buy a ticket, but
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure if I did, I would instantly win. That's how it works, right?
It does work very easily. Yes, you just have to buy one ticket, one number.
Exactly. Okay, let's go ahead and take that break, and then we'll come back with newsy stuff. Now I'll tell you,
not Olivia Newsy.
Not Olivia Newsy. There was more
Oh
stuff.
fuck! Jesus Christ! Was there more stuff? My God.
There was. I didn't even. It was one of those things where I saw that there was more stuff, but I did not have any desire to find out what that additional stuff was. So I pretty much ignored it.
It was bad. It was really bad. We didn't even put it on the topic list, but Sam, holy shit, it was bad.
Since you mentioned it, do you want to give like a 1-minute summary?
Well, after we get back.
Okay, after we come back. Okay, yeah. I will mention that the first break should have been a new wiki of the day break, but I was running late to get ready, so I didn't prepare that. So I'm saving that till next time. So there will be a new wiki of the day one next time. But in the meantime, here is a different one. Here you go.
AlexandZoe.com. Bang Alex and Dad. Gaming, videos, and more from Alex. Elementary school by day. YouTube by night. AlexandZoe.com. Alexandzoe is ALEXMXELA, and .com is period and then COM.
Okay, we're back. So, Nuzzy.
Okay, the Nuzzy story that I saw come out this week was that Nuzzy went and had tried to help RFK Jr. kill the bear story. That that he took a dead bear and put it in Central Park.
Okay.
That she had actually worked with him and plotted with him to figure out how to kill the story.
Oh, excellent.
So much for her being such a journalist.
Is that all? I heard there were more affairs with more people, and
Well,
that she
wait.
was.
Oh, well, that was well. I'm saying that was the last one. The other one, well,
Oh,
she
okay.
had been banging Mark Sanford. Okay, all right.
Okay.
So that one,
Is
I don't know.
it
We
was a
talked about that.
Florida politician? Am I remembering right?
I didn't see the Florida
South
one.
Carolina? Where was he?
Well, that's
Where's
Mark Sanford, South Carolina. He was the governor
okay,
of
South
South
Carolina.
Carolina. He was the guy that went on the Appalachian Trail.
Oh, right. Was it
Remember that he
her
was
that she was
banging?
going to on the
Then she
Appalachian
went.
Trail with?
No, she was going. No, that was in Argentina. He flew to Argentina. He had this girlfriend in Argentina. Okay, that it was his side chick back then. That I think ended at some point. Okay, he got divorced, and then when he was running for president in 2020. Olivia Nazi, while covering him, had like chased after him, and fucked him.
Okay.
All right.
Well, how can you properly do a story on somebody who's running for president if you have
If you
not
don't
had
fuck him.
sex on them, Yvonne?
Well, apparently that's one thing that soured her on Biden, because it seems like she thought that Biden was Biden
He
was
wouldn't have
like
sex with her?
apparently based on some stuff, it seems kind of like that was the vibe I got from some of the coverage.
Okay. Interesting.
So, there you go. Makes me up my respect for Joe Biden, which is already high, even way higher.
I'm left speechless. I don't know. Yeah.
There was a story where she was writing and waxing poetic about Trump's energy and virility.
Okay.
And then at the same time shitting on Biden. What, based on the track record we are seeing right now, what the fuck can I surmise? What do you want me to tell you?
I don't know. And of course, this flurry of publicity is because, of course, she's just put out a new book where she's talked about a bunch of this stuff.
Oh my God,
that fucking book. Then her ex is bringing up more stuff that she has not brought up herself.
Correct. And I know he posted something. Actually, he's the one that shared the story about her working with RFK Jr. to try to bury the Cubs story.
Okay.
And this whole thing goes back, and she's employed right now as a fucking reporter still somewhere, and I'm just like, how the fuck? I say that, and I realize that a network like Fox News has people like Gutfeld and Jesse Waters, and Megyn Kelly still has a job somehow, and so I guess.
Okay,
but
so
I think here this go. Listen, and this is, by the way, I think being covered by a lot of people from the sensibility of what we thought reporters should be, right?
Yeah.
There's some of us, stiff.
Some of us oldsters still have this idealized vision of like
reporters.
Yes, of like the folks who are after the truth and impartial and this and that, and impartial in a truth-seeking way, not impartial in a both sides sort of way, etc.
Right. But
okay, Nuzzy was not going to be your main topic, was it? What were you really going to talk about this time?
No. What are we? Well, fuck! Jesus Christ! I already picked something. You were short. You go pick something.
You could keep talking about. Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you were going to say you wanted to talk about Nuzzy for another 20 minutes.
No, I mean, what look. I don't want to talk about Nuzzy, but I can talk. I shared a clip on Slack today. You talk about people and this entire. I mean, reality that we live right now. I was going to say an issue. It's not. It's not, an issue would be maybe something that we can find a solution for. The reality. This is our reality right now. where you get an asshole like Tucker Carlson going and basically, I mean, that Pierce Morgan in an interview comes out as the voice of reason on the Nazi regime, where Tucker is questioning that, oh, you guys just chose to go to war against the Germans because Hitler wasn't planning on invading Great Britain, even though it's well documented that he would planned on it and he wanted to. Oh, because you just could have made a deal. I'm like, a deal? The Russians made a deal with him. Like what? Like he didn't go and say "fuck you" on your deal? By the way, Neville Chamberlain made a number of deals with him, and he also
and he's remembered fondly by history because of it.
Exactly, because he was a naive idiot that went, and like it was Churchill that decided to draw a line in the sand and say fuck this shit. And Tucker Carlson is doing all this entire revisionist history on his show that Pierce Morgan had to repeatedly correct them on, like, Hitler wanted to invade Great Britain. I mean, you chose to go to war against him. I mean, does he forget the Blitz? Anybody remember the Blitz?
Well, very
apparently
few,
not Tucker Carlson. No, very few, obviously. You know, this is a big problem
actually,
that we've got right now with.
Just as an aside, because we always do asides. One of the things that I've heard people mention just on the cyclicality of history is often simply because the terrible events of the past, that right after they happen, everybody's like, we're never going to let this happen again. We're going to restructure how we do things specifically to avoid this bad thing happening. What always happens is a certain number of years later, let's say 60 to 80 years later,
forget about the whole thing.
The people who actually remember it, like with their own live memories, as opposed to reading about it in a book or hearing about it from their parents, die off, and the people who no longer remember it are now in charge and immediately make the exact same mistakes that people made 80 years previously.
Yes.
And guess where we are right now?
I'm just, but the problem, but that the bigger problem is, right, that in Tucker Carlson's case.
Yes. Okay. We're talking about Tucker. I forgot. Go ahead.
Is that he's a grifter.
Yes.
So you don't really know what the fuck he really believes. I do believe that he is a racist. I mean, that part I'm sure.
I'm sure.
He keeps talking about how diversity to him is awful. Who wants to live in a diverse place? Who wants this? I want to be in a place where everybody around me is white.
Yes. Yep.
And how it's so bad to live with people that are different. Was it
him or was it somebody in administration this week? It might have been Miller or somebody. It's completely unsurprising. Talking about how certain populations are fundamentally unassimilatable, and so therefore should not be let in simply because of that, etc.
Sounds like something Miller or sounds like something either of them would say.
Because the whole notion is, you don't want to let people in who are going to change the culture in any way, because you want to retain that purity. And like you were saying, whereas of course, like folks like us are like, no, that's the strength. Of course you want to change the culture. You want to have a melding where you get the best of all the cultures together, and you learn from them and they learn from you, and together you have something better that was better than what either of you had before, or whatever.
You know one phrase that I we used to hear very we used to
The
hear
melting pot.
frequently. Yeah, you remember that?
Oh yeah.
How we said that all the time, and now it seems that people like avoid saying it, like it's a bad thing.
Well, and honestly, there's yeah, there are multiple criticisms of the melting pot. One is from folks like Tucker Carlson and Miller, who are like, we don't want our culture tainted by the other culture through this melting pot process. Um, but then there's also folks who are like, well, you don't want people to give up their identities either. You don't want people to be lost in assimilation and not, they come from
The
country
melting
X.
pot is not assimilation, okay? Because assimilation is like the Borg, okay? All right. I mean, it's all I think about, okay?
Well, people have said there's another model that's more like a plum pudding or something where, it's all mixed together, but still everything retains its additional identity. I think the actual, like, from my point of view, the ideal is something where you do mix everything together and you come up with a hybrid that is better than
It's
any of the
something that
ingredients.
exactly. You wind up with
Well,
something that
I can understand, however, how if you are in sort of a marginalized culture where retaining stuff from that culture becomes more important to you.
look, I'm Puerto Rican. Okay, well, I live in a society where I speak a language that is not the native language of my island, but I speak it better than my native language. That's a reality. Maybe not that much better, but I my you know my language skills in English are because I use it more. It's the main
Mhm.
reason. Uh, Definitely better than my Spanish ones, even though my Spanish ones are still pretty good. But
You're not
it's still the
saying you're illiterate in Spanish.
not even close. I mean, I write, I do business in Spanish. But what I'm
Yeah, yeah.
saying is that the reality is that my English, because of various reasons, is better. Okay, um, and so, but I still use my Spanish every day. I cook with seasonings that we use back home every
Hmm.
day, but I'll cook a steak using them, for example. I don't, and I think that many of us from Puerto Rico do a job of uh, enjoying a lot of the things that our culture has, like its music, like its family activities, like the food and so forth, while living in the United States, fully integrated into what society has been for many decades. Uh, and it's one thing I know that Cubans, for example, that moved to Miami back when exile from Fidel, because of the racism that persisted back then. Many of that generation of Cubans that got brought up in Miami were dissuaded from learning Spanish.
Hmm.
That you've got a generation of Cubans that many of them cannot speak Spanish very well or don't speak it at all. And it was their fear of of them being marginalized in society. Okay, the parents were worried about it because they were being marginalized, and so they had in many ways pushed away some of that culture. I think that changed. No, I don't think that changed later. Okay, uh, uh, with the later generations, but but that was a reality. Um, I think my nieces and nephews, their Spanish is not as good as ours that were brought up in Puerto Rico, but they still speak it, and they still like a lot of the things about our culture and do it. But in the end, what they have as a culture, it's not an assimilation. It's not what we had as something completely different. And I think that's perfectly fine because
Right.
I sometimes we want to preserve everything like it's a museum where culture is an ever evolving thing, you know?
Well, and
And
this is actually one of the core things that folks like Stephen Miller just can't accept. They do want to freeze it in time. They believe like these things were right and good and the way things should be, and they should be like that forever. As
right.
opposed to, yeah, no, like I don't expect that my values are the same as my grandparents, and I don't expect that if I have grandkids that their values will be the same as mine. Things evolve, things change, and that's not a bad thing, you know?
Yeah. And but these people the whole make America great again, right?
Yeah.
Let's turn back the clock to, I don't know.
Well, at first people were always thinking that Trump meant the 1950s. He's later pretty much made it clear that he's really thinking 1890s. That's where he'd like to go back to.
The robber barons,
Exactly.
yeah, that was the big economic oligarchy in America. The basically the the great segregation. Women had no rights. I can't remember who the heck it was. It was they were trying to pull. No president would have ever done something, and I can't remember the exact thing that Trump. That was the appalling, like, and somebody, well, Andrew Jackson would have done it, and I'm like, look, the fact that you have to go back to a president so far back that at that time there's something related to women that not even you have to pull for a time that women couldn't even own property legally, for God's sakes, and blacks were slaves. That shows you how retrograde that thought is.
Right.
If you have to go back that far, then something's fucked up about it. And yeah, he wants to go back to the time where women didn't vote.
Yeah.
A time,
Well, and Donald Trump hasn't specifically said that one, but certain folks on the
certain folks
sort of MAGA,
have.
yeah. Okay.
But anyway, we're talking about the reality of the current journalist, uh, profession, and
Yes.
what the opinions in general of people are. Our opinions on journalism are seen as quaint.
Yes. Well, and even I would say, like, I don't think the sort of idealized Edward R. Murrow, Walter Cronkite thing is necessarily exactly the right model to go back to either. I'd mentioned truth seekers rather than both sides. I think there's a big problem with the sort of both sides view of journalism these days. I think knowing I think trying to pretend that journalists don't have an opinion isn't necessarily helpful. But I
Yeah,
think
you got to separate two things.
you got
One
to
is I
separate.
have an opinion. It's like you being a scientist, right?
You got
You
to
could have an
separate the
opinion, a
advocacy from
theory.
fact finding. You,
Exactly. It's the
you,
same as doing a scientific experiment. You could think that something is going to happen with a science experiment, but when you're doing the experiment, and if the if the if the testing shows you something different, you have to go and accept. Oh shit! I thought this was going to happen, but that's not what happened.
but
Oh,
at the same time, like I keep there was a quote, and I don't know who said it. It's gone around many times since then. Of like it's comparing news people to weather people. Where if you don't report like, hey, this one guy says it's going to be sunny and this one guy says it's going to be rain. If you are a good reporter, you go outside and check yourself and you report on
nah.
what you see. Is it raining? Is it not raining? Like it's not everything. There are things that are sort of purely matters of opinion and blah blah blah, and then okay, you can present like this person thinks this and this person thinks that and blah blah blah. But there are many things where the objective truth is actually knowable, and in that case it is the responsibility of a good journalist to seek out that truth and report on it, and not just report on what the other people are saying about each other. and I think that there's this hesitancy to do that in a lot of places. Also, I think that the fact that at this point there's a huge concentration of media ownership in large corporations makes it more difficult as well, because there's
Look,
not
can
a
I
lot of
just
separation.
listen, Sam?
I mean, that
I'm
was true.
sorry, but in
Yeah.
history, that's been the case of
I-
large media. I mean, actually, wait, forget about large media. In the past, that's the only media that existed.
No,
Okay?
but there's a couple differences, I think, that are. It's not just that it's corporate ownership; it's what are the incentives of the corporate ownership right now, right?
But
Like,
oh my God, Sam!
like we had
go
Edward,
back
we
on-
had
I mean,
like Hearst and all of those folks. Like, they had a clear agenda and they were pushing it, and they were transparent about it. They were using the media that they
is
owned, and
Rupert Murdoch not transparent about what he's trying to push?
oh,
I mean, give
yeah,
me a
no.
fucking break.
Oh,
Come
no, I'm not
on.
even talking about Fox. I'm talking the issue I feel like with like the Comcasts of the world and folks like that own stuff is that they are relatively risk averse in some of these areas where they do own, of course,
Sam,
MSNBC just got sold, blah blah blah. But
Sam,
yes,
that's always been the case. Look, I still remember there's this movie about this guy, the whistleblower on the tobacco industry, Jeffrey Wigand. What the fuck was the name? I don't know if I don't know if you've seen that movie. It's a great movie, by the way. Oh God, what?
I'm not saying any of this is new.
But hang on. Let me bring up the name of the movie because The Insider.
The Insider. Okay, I'll just mention that as I was going to Wikipedia to look up the book to take a screenshot to add it to my list, what was already on my Wikipedia app on my phone was Bozo Goes to College.
Oh, excellent! Great.
Yo.
You mean Bonzo, not Bozo.
Bonzo Goes to College.
I mean, that would have been weird. That would have been Bozo.
It's the sequel to Bedtime for Bonzo, which of course starred Ronald Reagan. So I add both these to my list and then look up The Insider. Go ahead.
Okay, did you ever watch that movie?
It's not ringing a bell. I'm bringing it up right now.
Okay, you need to watch that movie.
I don't think so.
And it was based on a true story related to the whistleblowing related to the big tobacco and them hiding up the fact that they knew that nicotine was addictive, that there was a lot of scientific research, and that they were actually manipulating the nicotine content in cigarettes in order to increase addiction. And how this guy that was a chief scientist for, it was Philip Morris.
Yeah.
Okay.
The story all sounds familiar, but
it wanted to blow the whistle because there was a testimony. Well, it's a story because there was articles in several newspapers regarded this. He worked for Brown and Williamson Tobacco. How he saw the tobacco executives go and testify in Congress, saying that they said that they didn't know nicotine was addictive. And they said it over and over. When, by the way, internally they discussed that tobacco was a nicotine delivery device, okay, and that they knew that directly, okay. And one of the things was that this is a story that's supposed to go out in 60 Minutes, and there was a big blow up at 60 Minutes because CBS was in the process of being sold. And CBS Corporate went and killed the story, okay, because they said that Brown and Williamson came and threatened to sue them, and they could sue them out of existence, and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, as the story was about to go on air, they tried to force the producer to change the story near the last minute. Lowell Bergman was the producer, who's like well known about this. He refused. Then they aired a story which didn't have all the explosive testimony. Then Lowell Bergman leaked most of the stuff. I think it was to the Wall Street Journal, or I can't remember who it was. Okay. And then the story came out, and then all blew up. And then 60 Minutes had to actually publish the story. And by the way, this is what led to the Remember the massive tobacco settlement that we got back then?
Yeah, I
That
remember.
changed advertising, that changed everything. This is the igniter of that. Okay, so if you haven't watched this movie, which I know fictionalizes some parts of it, and there's some arguing by some people around how they about it, but it was very close to what the fuck happened. Okay, all right, in the story. But this was the 90s. CBS executives were telling 60 Minutes exactly to kill a story, to fucking edit it because of corporate interests that had to do with money. Just the same shit as when CBS was being sold now. And this is the thing, that when people go and they tell me, oh my God, look what's happening to CBS, like this never happened before. I'm like, guys, are you out of your fucking mind?
Just to be clear, I am not saying any of this is new. I am saying that
it literally happened the last time they were being sold, almost verbatim. And people have such short fucking memories that they forget.
Yeah. No, all I'm saying is I think the incentive structure in not just big corporate, but any for-profit media just doesn't necessarily always align with truth. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You know,
here's my one thing: money and big media has always been an issue. It's always influenced, always slanted coverage in a certain way, one way or another. That's just been their reality. However, I do say that we are in the era, and we have an issue. You know, the thing is that you could look at this from we're better or worse off in a certain way with this, okay? Because back then, you couldn't do independent media the way it's being done now, that is as pervasive and is heard by as many people as it is right now. However, the problem is that there is so much also independent media, and so many of them are peddling lies.
Right.
That
I mean this gets us to the whole information bubble thing where
as a defect compared to this environment where I got a Tucker Carlson out there basically just saying, oh no, UK, you got into a war because you wanted to.
Well, right. I mean, this goes into the whole, there's so much media, so available in so different ways, and the barrier to entry is so low. I mean, hell, we've been doing a podcast for nearly 20 years.
Exactly
you know, that people select what they listen to and what viewpoints they want to hear, as opposed to having sort of that universal
TV and watching Dan Rather.
Yeah, or Walter Cronkite or Edward R. Murrow before them, you know, where basically one of the things that people sort of say made democracy a little bit healthier was the fact that there was this shared reality. Like everybody watched the evening news on the three big networks, and there wasn't a huge difference. You didn't have a different view of reality if you watched ABC instead of CBS.
Now, there may have been some nuance different. Maybe they got some extra details, some other stuff or whatever. But the reality is that the facts were aligned 99%.
Whereas right now, if you are a 100% Fox News viewer, you will have a very different view of what is happening in the world than if you are a 100% MSNBC viewer, or let alone.
As I mentioned, I had as I mentioned this week I switched TV providers for home, and I had I've been having the DirecTV 4 business channel thing up a while now, and I realized that I'm looking at what CNBC and Bloomberg are covering versus what the fuck Fox Business is covering, which is like some alternate planet. Okay, all right. I mean, it is. I mean, there could be. I mean, literally, there was like big stories, shit happening, important. Like the other week, like right now on the business side, I can't remember which one. CNBC and Bloomberg are all over it. Bloomberg, Fox is is socialism is the social? They have this Chiron about the socialism threat in New York and how they're going to destroy this, how he's destroying the city. The
Right.
story that was happening was like it didn't exist, and I think it was related to some bad economic data, some other, something relevant that was just not aligned with the GOP agenda.
Yeah, like I mean, I often, not as often as I used to, like my a consumption of live TV news in any way has, of course, like everybody else, has gone down considerably since the election. But like I'll still like I'll put up the 4Up news thing on my thing, and usually put it on mute and just have it on, like,
Yeah.
wherever.
So do I. It's all on mute. Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, like I the Chiron on Fox earlier, like last night sometime, was some guy, I don't even know which show it was, but it was like, Democrats have wine for Thanksgiving, WHINE, it was the Chiron as the thing that they were talking about, where I guess, Democrats are complaining about whatever, blah, blah, blah. And, they had their three hosts laughing and talking about that, and for like 5 minutes or whatever. Yeah. Yes, it's a completely different universe depending on which of what your news sources were. And I was about to say, and that's even talking about TV, which honestly is old people at this point.
Yeah, this is old
if
people.
you
This is old people shit. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, if you start talking about the manosphere podcasts and the YouTube channels people are watching,
Road
and
TV,
and the the various like discussion groups where people hang out, even if you're not like talking about the whatever that one was with the road, what was it, Rhode Island or Connecticut, where all those Republicans were caught talking about like how they love Nazis and all the other stuff a couple months ago. Anyway, even if you're not,
well, that wasn't that the chat of the youth people, or is that a
the young Republicans,
the young right.
Even if you're not talking that, you're talking Reddit groups and whatever, like it is much more, you are finding out people who agree with you, and you are seeking out, and people have talked endlessly about information bubbles. And look, I'm in one too. I work to pierce it a little bit by like making sure I have that 4Up, and I see what Fox is talking about. Now, do I take it seriously? Could I stand watching more than a few minutes of Fox in a row with this volume up? No.
Oh my God! Listen, man, it's torture. I mean, it is, and it hasn't changed from the formula, is what I said. It's the old Rush Limbaugh formula. I mean, he really patented it, where they just go and just all facts are just ignored. We just twist and talk, about bullshit, but now you add a big dose of misogyny and just absolutely just racism to it as well. It's really fucked up.
Okay, let's take another break. You tried to switch topics and have me pick one like half an hour ago or something.
Yeah,
and we just ended up continuing I didn't do anything. So let's take a break, and then I will pick a topic for the remainder of the show, and we will be back after this. No, it's not the beginning of the show again. We're just taking a little time to credit the artist responsible for the music we use at the beginning and end of the show. What you are listening to right now is The O of Pleasure by Ray Lynch. The music we close our show with is Celestial Soda Pop. Both of these songs are from Deep Breakfast. Now platinum, Deep Breakfast was the first independently released album ever to be certified gold by the RIAA. Ray Lynch's other albums are The Sky of Mind, No Blue Thing, Nothing Above My Shoulders But the Evening, and The Best of Ray Lynch. You can check out Ray Lynch or buy his music at raylynch.com, iTunes, Amazon, or anywhere you usually find music. And we are back. Okay, so topic.
Yeah. Topic.
I think of the things this week, the one that we'd be most remiss in not talking about is the controversy over giving illegal orders to the military. And
Are you gonna go to that? Oh, fuck! I thought.
what did you want? What did you want?
No. I was like trying to look at. I was trying to guess what you.
You were trying to guess. What did you guess?
My guess was that you're going to talk about Comey and James dismissal. But okay.
Yeah, no, I like that's old news at this point.
Okay, all right. So the illegal orders. Okay, all right. So
no, and specifically, what came up this week started
the criminal orders. Let's be clear about this. This is like these are criminal acts.
Yes. Well, where this started. Yeah. Well, I was going to get to that towards the end, but before that, earlier in the week, a group of I believe it was 5 senators. The only one I remember off the top of my head is Mark Kelly was one of them. Put out a video basically saying, hey, if you're in our armed forces, remember, it is part of your oath that you need to refuse an illegal order.
That's right.
You not only have the right, well, I think they just mentioned you have the right to reject an illegal order. But in fact, it's actually considered your responsibility to refuse an illegal order. It's part of the oath that the law is more important than your orders. It's part of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Says this as well. People pointed out there's a plaque at West Point that specifically calls out your duty in this realm, and of course, the administration responded very negatively to this. Now, you'd think the right response in a normal administration would be to come out and say, absolutely right. And nobody ever has to worry about this with us because we would never issue an illegal order. But absolutely, it is the responsibility of every member of the military to reject illegal orders. Oh, and we will never do that. That is not what they did. Instead, they were going after and saying anybody who's even
they didn't. They didn't just say, "Hey, we rule of law. We're right there with you."
No. They instead are going after and investigating the senators supposedly for sedition because they are undermining the military. They're encouraging the military to defy orders, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like,
that's a normal reaction.
They're talking about illegal orders. And they're like, well, they're implying that our orders are illegal and therefore they should be ignored.
Nobody's implying anything, assholes.
Well, okay. Look, the clear.
No. You're not going. Listen. No. Listen. I'm sorry. When you're saying that, you're not saying that all the orders are illegal.
Right.
But you should examine the orders that you're being given. I mean, yes. Are there some orders that sound that are illegal? Yeah, but you're not. I mean, you're not directly challenging any individual order. When, especially, yeah, you know, when all you're saying is, hey, remember your oath.
Yes,
That's it.
that's basically all they
If
said.
telling somebody remember your oath to the other person, it sounds like an accusation. Guess what?
Yes.
You're the one with the problem because you are carrying a guilty conscience around because you know you're breaking the law.
Exactly. Now, just realistically, the path for rejecting illegal order is a hard path. Like if you're some schlub who's at a low level of the military, and you just on your own decide, hey, this order sounds illegal, I'm not going to do it. The process from that point in time to you being vindicated and is
It's
fraught.
lengthy. It's not easy. Yeah. It's not easy.
And you are likely damaging your career by making that choice. But this is why the reminder is good, that it is actually your responsibility to do so.
Unfortunately, Sam, such is the life of many times making the right decision.
Right. And so anyway, they got extremely defensive. They got aggressive in the ways we talked about. And then later in the week, a leak came out about Secretary Hegseth that you were mentioning. Specifically, the very first time they went after one of these boats off the coast of Venezuela that they claim are running drugs or whatever they're claiming, there were survivors that were clinging to the wreckage. And Hegseth specifically ordered a second strike to go back and just kill them all.
Right.
This is something where now
that is flat out a criminal act.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a very strong argument that the first attack on these boats, that every attack on these boats is a criminal act.
It is a criminal act.
But it's at least an argument where people could have a good faith argument about whether or not there's a legal justification. I think the answer is no. But for the second attack, it is clearly 100%, Geneva Convention, U.S. law, everything going back wherever, that the military going after and attacking non-combatants intentionally who pose no threat whatsoever because they are already injured, taken out of the battle, whatever. It's 100% a war crime, undeniable. Like there's not even, like, you usually when these things get reported, you have at least some of sort of the conservative military experts giving some sort of justification. They've been remarkably silent on this one. And so, like, after this whole start of the week with people talking about, hey, it's important to say no to illegal orders, remember your oath, blah, 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 and the administration blowing up against that. Oh, look, here's Hegseth giving a clearly illegal order and having it followed just a few months ago, and almost unambiguously so. And of course, this is why they don't want anybody thinking about whether an order is illegal or not. They just want obedience, because they are 100% doing things that are illegal and are contemplating more, both internationally and domestically. I mean, Trump and company have talked about
is there a
the things they
statute
want
of
to do, bringing
limitation
military
on,
into.
Is there a statute of limitations on prosecuting Hegseth for something like that? Do you know? Off the top of your head, I haven't researched it.
I haven't researched either. I think U.S. law might be difficult because of various things about granting immunity.
Fine. We'll fucking turn him over.
But the international courts, I don't think there are statutes of limitations on war crimes and crimes against humanity internationally.
Turn his ass over to the International Criminal Court in a moment.
Well, this is, I actually posted that on Blue Sky. I'm like, the next administration.
First thing is arrest them, put them on a fucking plane, and dump them into Hague. Fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, look, administrations of both parties have rejected the authority of the ICC for years because they're afraid the ICC would go after Americans. The next Democrat in office has to say, fuck all that. We recognize the ICC. And if Americans do something bad, they absolutely should be put to account for it. Oh, and by the way, here's the whole damn Trump administration. Take them, please, and do what you see, do what needs to be done. Because clearly our system failed
is
at
not
that.
is not equipped to handle this right now.
Over handling January 6th and all that kind of stuff, we failed utterly at actually bringing Trump to justice over that. But just take the whole damn administration and
on
hand
another
them over to the
note
ICC.
of justice not served, for some reason, and I haven't found yet why that is. Trump announced this morning the pardon for a Honduran ex-president convicted of drug trafficking, who was serving a 45-year sentence. Just did that today. I don't know why. I'm not sure what. I don't know. I'm not sure what the payoff or the thing that he got. I'm sure it's got to. He's got to be making money off of this somehow. But
Of
he
course.
went and he. I'm going after Maduro for drug trafficking, but I'm going to pardon somebody else that just got convicted last year of this.
Well, yes, and speaking of previous administrations, like getting consequences for their actions, I remember a while back when Trump was being prosecuted. I think Bruce on our Slack asked about this is just like, the danger of the new administration going after the previous administration, leading to a cycle, and asking, what countries do this? Has this happened, especially during a campaign? And of course, we have examples. We have Netanyahu in Israel, although that he hasn't been brought to justice either. We've had things happening in Korea. Of course, we just had ex-president of Brazil go to jail this week after apparently Donald Trump was planning on busting him out and rescuing him, but they arrested him first. I just saw something about apparently Peru has a whole bunch of ex-presidents in jail.
Yes, that is true. Yes,
and a new one just got arrested this week.
Brazil has sent more than one president to jail. I mean, this isn't the first one. I mean, the current president has been in jail. Okay?
Yes. No, and look,
so,
you certainly can have a scenario that's unhealthy where just every administration automatically puts the previous administration in jail. That's not what we're talking about here, and that is unhealthy. But if they're actual crimes, then absolutely people should be held to account.
But by the way, in almost all the cases that we're talking about here, look, there have been criminal acts. This isn't, hey, you want to stop going to jail? How about you stop being a criminal?
Yes. Well, of course, the whole view here is the reason you try to get power is so that you're exempt from all those laws.
Correct.
And you can do whatever the hell you want.
Correct. Yes.
This is why you accumulate lots of money. This is why you become president of a country. This is why you go into politics more generally, I guess. I don't know. It's all about corruption and power for a significant group of these folks.
There is a big group of these people that are like that. I do agree. But one thing that I had observed in the past in the U.S. is that number was lower. Used to be lower in the U.S.
Used to be.
Okay.
And you honestly did have lots of people, and look, I've got family who's in politics.
Listen, let me give you a good
example. Used to have a lot of people who were actually in it because they thought this was a good way it was public service and it was making the country better, and they were helping.
Let me give you a good example. Let me give you a great example. AOC and MTG, I think, got to Congress both around the same time, pretty close. Okay, not that far off.
Right.
So MTG left Congress and now has a net worth of $35 million, according to the latest financial reports that she had filed. Okay. How much do you think AOC is worth?
More than she was when she was a waitress, but she's not like crazy rich.
Not by a lot. Okay, less than $100,000. It's her total net
Okay.
worth right
Yeah.
now. Okay, according to the latest filings. I mean, what I said, you could clearly see that one person was in it for the grift and one person was in it for service.
Right.
I like my congressman Louis that I had for that because the district change is not a congressman anymore, Louis Frankel. I still remember that one time I was flying to DC, I was in coach and she was sitting in coach right beside me. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, and I know that from her financial reports that she also didn't enrich herself in some crazy manner while in the house, but you almost see very especially in recent times, that a lot of these grifters just amassing incredible amounts of wealth while they are in their seat. I mean, I think Cinema was a Democrat, but there's a reason why
Yep.
people wanted her out. Cinema amassed a multi-million-dollar fortune while she was in the Senate, out
Right.
of the blue. And you're like,
Well, you've seen these things, right? That like are saying, hey, Congress does a lot of insider trading because they get information and blah blah blah, where people have actually set up investment funds where the only thing they do is they track the disclosures of prominent Congress people and politicians and copy their trades. And those funds have done pretty well.
And they would, well, obviously, one of the things that there is a timing issue between the time that they
Yes.
trade and disclosure.
And
So
the
if you were able to
disclosure, yes.
trade, right? So if you were able to trade, at the moment that they did,
Right.
but this is the kind of shit that we're living with, and man, if why I said that you do need to do an anti-project 2025 plan.
Yes.
It should be somewhere on your to-do list. I didn't see it. And I
It
can't
was not
add
on
it.
the list. It was not on the list.
I need to somehow add it. I need to bribe Alex to give me your PIN code.
Yes.
Yeah.
Text him and give him the right offer. He'd probably text it back to you.
Yes, I think that if I make the right offer, he'd probably just give it to me. Okay, all right. Okay, so look, I think that these things need to be a priority in terms of legislation that needs to be passed right away. That you need to fucking make so many of these changes.
Right.
And including constitutional amendments that need to be proposed to fix a lot of this shit.
Yes. I mean,
this cannot be delayed.
We've been saying since the first Trump administration that reforms to make it impossible for the kind of abuses that have been going on, and I say because of the Trump administration, but it's not just Trump, obviously, make these things that have been exposed as not either not illegal at all with under current law, or the laws that exist are toothless and impossible to enforce. Fix that and make some of these things, all of the corruption we're seeing, all of the abuse of power, blah blah blah, make it impossible. The problem is that even when like the Democrats are in power, there's a significant chunk of Democrats who are like, I'm not so sure about this because this is constraining their own power too.
I don't care. It shouldn't matter.
And their own ability to be corrupt.
It shouldn't matter. I don't care. I don't care. But
I don't care either. But what we've seen is like these things have a hard time getting traction and have a hard time getting passed.
It's happened before.
It has happened before. Generally, when reforms happen, is in the wake of extraordinarily bad abuses. And if anything at all, that's what's happening right now.
That's what's happening right now. And that's what needs to be a cornerstone of getting back into power. It needs to be to do all the things. I'll tell you. I mean, things like I don't think
the best case scenario coming out of
DOJ should not report to the president anymore. DOJ should be independent. Either
Well, I mean,
either it reports
yeah.
either it goes
Speaking
to
of independence of DOJ, that whole mindset was a direct result of Watergate.
Right.
Watergate. You know, and what I was going to say
is Watergate scandal.
Yes. Well, the best case scenario right now in a post-Trump world is that we have the same kind of counter reaction that we had after Watergate. After Watergate, all sorts of reforms were passed to make the kind of abuses that, frankly, not just Nixon, but Johnson and Kennedy were doing before them, make that impossible, or at least very hard. And those protections obviously didn't last forever, but they lasted for a good long while before they started getting eroded away.
Well, I think what it showed is that they weren't even strong enough. They need to be stronger, is my point.
Right. Yes. And so, yeah, our best case scenario is Trump and his administration and the Republican grifters in general screw things up so badly that there is a massive call to fix these problems that's big enough that it can get rammed through Congress and whoever's the next president.
Right.
And you do restrict all these powers and make it a lot harder to do these abuses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And crack down on this, to go back to the topic, make it easier to resist illegal orders, make it clearer what's an illegal order, make it supports for that on the military side of things. And join the ICC and turn all these damn people over to them.
Yeah.
So that's about all I had. You got anything else on this, or should we start wrapping things up? We went extra long last week, so we can go short today.
Yeah, we can wrap things up.
Okay. Go to curmudgeons-corner.com. You can see all our transcripts. You can yes, I'm done here. It is clearly time to wrap up. And, anyway, you can see our transcripts. You can see all the ways to contact us. You can see all kinds of fun stuff. Old shows, our archives going back to the beginning. And of course, you can link to our Patreon to give us money. Give me lots of money so I don't ever have to go back to a corporate job. Please. Lots. It'd be helpful. Anyway, at various levels on the Patreon, we will mention you on the show. We will ring a bell. We will send you a postcard. We'll send you a mug, all that kind of stuff at $2 a month or more. Or if you just ask us, we will invite you to our Curmudgeon's Corner Slack, where Yvonne and I and a bunch of other folks are talking throughout the week, sharing links, all that kind of stuff. Yvonne, what is a highlight from the Slack this week that we have not talked about on the show?
I got a couple. Okay, quick
hits. Okay, a couple. Yes.
Some male wellness influencer said 99% of modern guys don't have tan balls, semen retention length 5+ days, testosterone 700 plus NGDL, lean mass sub 10% body fat, any Bitcoin, their life in order. Literally, the bar is set so extremely low. It's not that hard to be a 1% man. So, Sam, when are you going to start tanning your balls?
I don't know what you're talking about, Yvonne. Like, I've been doing that for years, like every day.
Oh, fuck.
It's an important part of my routine. And when you can't get outside and do it in the sun, they make machines.
Oh, they make a little machine. So you like, okay, all right. There you go.
Yeah, it's like a tanning bed, but just for your balls.
Another thing that I saw, they had this Consumer Reports did this thing where they were showing like really bad devices. Okay, all right, devices that were a problem. Okay, devices that have issues. Okay, so they said, hey, 10 devices you shouldn't buy. So they had scored poorly the MicroLife Advanced Digital Monitor, which is a blood pressure monitor, $40. Okay. They gave it an overall score of 33. They didn't get it down into the red. It was only orange, which is like the color before red. But this is the reason why I said, and I'm like, I'm a little bit baffled why they didn't score it a 0. Okay, this device got a dismal score for accuracy and stores memory for only one user. On the plus side, it has a large display and is easy to read. And I'm like, look, if I buy a fucking blood pressure monitor, the one thing I expect it to do is that it reads the blood pressure accurate. I couldn't give a shit about an easy to read display that shows me the wrong fucking blood pressure.
Now wait a second, Yvonne. This gives me a business idea. Okay? Because not blood pressure monitors specifically.
Okay.
But my son, very often, when he doesn't feel like going to school, gets out the fever thermometer and is taking it over and over and over again to try to show us that he's got a fever and he shouldn't go to school. And like Ferris Bueller had that whole thing where he faked being sick.
Yes.
We need to sell thermometers that specifically.
You can tell it what temperature you want it to show.
Exactly. You a little adjustment dial on the back and we market this to preteens and teenagers so that they can fool their parents. Oh no, I'm sick. I can't go to school.
Look at this thing. Right. What you do forget, the old, not a thermometer you put in your head. You got those digital ones that go, they
on
put
your forehead.
Yeah. Right. Listen, to make this cheap, the cheapest thing is you did this, you built a little thing. All you got is just an input, just a little lever where you select the temperature you want it to show. And so you press the button that beeps, and voila, it just shows that wrong number.
I don't know why we are not billionaires even. With ideas like this.
We're pretty bad at execution, it seems.
It seems so. I mean, look, this clearly would be a market for this.
Plus we don't have tan balls. Well, you do have Bitcoin.
I do have a little bit. I long ago got rid of most of the bit nickel I bought, and so I don't have very much left, but I have some.
But listen, we are not sub 10% body fat. That I can assure you.
What? I don't know what you're looking at. I am svelte. I am.
No. Listen, less than 10% body fat. I mean, no, we're not at that level.
I got the 6-pack going on. No, I got a 12-pack.
Do the 6-pack. I saw some guy the other. I saw some guy the other day when he did shirtless. Was at a game. Was that he shaved like the hairs on his belly in order to make it? It kind of like from afar looked like he had a 6-pack. What he did was just shave the hairs in the
pattern.
Appropriate in the pattern. Yes.
Okay then, that's interesting. I guess you could draw it on with a marker or something too.
You could do that too.
Yeah.
I've seen T-shirts. I mean, these are about as good as the pull-ups that Pete Hegseth did with RFK Jr., where they supposedly both did.
Oh, that kind of pull-up. I thought you were talking like diapers.
Yeah, like they were doing. No, not diapers. That's Trump's thing. But they were doing RFK. They were doing supposed exercises that the form was so. They didn't do any of the exercises they said they were doing to try to show how manly they are.
Right. Okay. One last thing for me. I will mention my Juke Potter site again, jukepotter.com. The next thing on my to-do list is sort of try to fix bugs. And I know there's a bunch of places where it's sort of not, it works most of the time, but there are things that occasionally glitch out. So please, folks, I want some traffic. Go to jukepotter.com, play with it, try to explore, find some podcasts, send me some feature requests. I'm only about halfway through my list of features I want to add to the thing, so I've got more stuff to add, but send me feature requests. Check out the sponsors. I've got right now, I've got, they're not 12 real sponsors because nobody's paying me money, but I put in my 4 podcasts and 8 more from the Snohomish Podcast Network, where if you have filtered to something where that podcast would qualify, it boosts them. And I've got a whole backend system tracking how many views and clicks and blah, 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 so that like it could potentially be tied to billing. So test that stuff out so I can see if it works and send me feedback and things I should improve on it. Because then the very next thing on my list is like to bash some of these bugs. So if you have any, report them to me. And you know, all my contact information, you can find me on the Curmudgeon's Corner website I listed earlier, curmudgeons-corner.com. And yeah, that's it. I'm still working on Robin Letter too. But there's not stuff to share yet. Everything I'm doing is sort of still internal, other than the brochure page. Anyway, and I guess Yvonne says I should make this to-do list thing a project too, like a public product. So
Yes.
I'll work on that. I had been thinking about that anyway, but maybe I'll actually start thinking, okay, what do I do to make this multi-user? Anyway, that's it. Thank you for joining us. Have a great week, everybody. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. If you did the Thanksgiving thing, my mother came over. We had dinner. It was fun. You know, we did the thing. So hope everybody else had a good time too. Have a great week. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go eat next, Yvonne. Even if I don't randomly roll, that I should eat right now, because I think that's still fairly low on the list. So it would be days before I eat if I waited for that to come up. So
Okay, that would be it. I like your plan. Done. Okay, all right, good.
Okay, see you later. Bye. Hit and stop.
Bye.